Wait, do I say my name first? That's
You
how
always do.
I always say, hi, my name's Kate. Hi, I'm Kate. Yeah, and then I do the intro. Why do I do this every time? I do cry. Okay, I do cry when I drive sometimes because sometimes it is beautiful. Like, I do cry because of beauty often, and I have cried because of Oklahoma sunsets before.
Are you sure it's not depression? I've driven the same road, and it is not a great road. It's very boring.
Overall, I mean, it's an Emily Henry, so we know I'm gonna love it. Like, the complex layers of, like, her characters actually have depth to them. They all have background stories. You know a little bit of every single one of them, and they all accumulate to this big storyline that actually feels like you could meet these people in real life. And that is something I will always love about Emily. And then also now you're getting married, and also now you have to make sure your best friends stay together. She was having a terrible time, guys.
It's not her job to get them back together.
You're right.
But it's fun.
And he says, I'm really happy. You too, right? She said, yeah, me too. Heart shatters around the world.
Hi, I'm Kate.
And I'm Bailey.
And these are our book boyfriends. Hello.
Hi. Today, we're talking about Happy Place.
Yes.
By Emily Henry.
Yes.
To celebrate her new release this month.
Yes.
Great Big Beautiful Life.
Yeah.
When you see this episode, it'll be out. Mm-hmm. But not for us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
So
I'm excited
April
for it.
22nd, it comes out.
Ooh, Tuesday release.
Always,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we will be talking about the whole book and spoiling it. So if you haven't read it yet, what are you doing? First of all,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it took me this long.
I know. I feel like badgering you for a while to read it.
Yeah.
And I just use the podcast as an excuse to
Yeah,
get you to read it.
it works.
I'm finally going to force you to read it. Like, I'm making you do this one next.
Yeah.
But we're going to be spoiling it if you haven't read it. So if you don't want it to be spoiled, this is your warning. Skedaddle.
Go on, get.
Go on, get. Or if you don't care, that's fine.
Yeah, but you really should read it.
Yeah. Before, just like an update from the last video, the movie adaptation situation.
Oh, okay.
I found this post. I sent it to you.
Yes, you did. You
I
did.
saw like an Instagram post that, of course, it was like a couple days later after read.
I want to say it was a couple hours after.
I was like, son of a biscuit.
Yeah.
But it had like a really long list of a bunch of books we talked about that are definitely going to be adaptions. I was just going to like throw them
Rapid
out.
fire.
Yeah. So every summer after, Happy Place.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
I know. I was like,
Yeah.
Every single one of Emily Henry's is being adapted. The Favorites. It's what it said. The Favorites, which I
So someone
freaked out.
read it and they're like, we're producing this now. You know?
It had
like,
to be.
That's crazy.
But those will be TV shows.
Oh,
That's what this post said. Don't know who the person was. You know, it could be lies. And then funny story, The Midnight Library,
Oh.
which you said. None of this is true, which is a thriller that I've read that's good. Beach Read, Book Lovers, and then The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo are becoming a movie.
I've seen a post that someone said that their fan cast for Evelyn Hugo is Selena Gomez, which I've never read Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, so I don't know if that matches the character type at all. But I've seen like actually a lot of response on that was like, yeah, she'd be perfect or whatever for Selena Gomez. And I was like, she does act. I was about to say she could remake her acting debut, but she has a whole ass TV show.
Yeah.
I forgot about it.
She does act.
She does do that.
Terribly.
Oh.
I said it. I don't think she's a very good actress.
Really? I haven't watched. What's it called? Only Murders in the Building?
Yeah.
She's very flat, but also
But
the
I think that's
character
the
is flat.
character. Because if
But
you've seen her, have you ever seen Wizards of Waverly Place?
she was like 10.
I
then.
understand, but
She was pretty
different.
animated.
She's
in that
very
one.
animated and bubbly and like spazzy, chaotic mess.
Almost
too.
disingenuine. You know, like
I
so
don't know.
much.
I just think that character.
Which Wizards of Waverly Place is back. They've done a reboot and she is on it. And I'm sure I haven't watched the reboot, but I'm sure she's chaotic. But I truly just think the character in Only Murders is just a flat gal.
It's very much me in a movie.
Yeah, so you're a judgy little bitch.
Yeah, I know it'd be terrible in a movie.
Anyway, I was sad Evelyn Hugo is going to be a movie, not a TV show. But
Yeah, because you're suggesting like every episode is like a husband. That's brilliant.
genius. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Anyway, that's all on that, I guess. I just wanted to throw that out there because I saw that post right after and then I was pissed.
I have a funny story from earlier today.
Okay.
So I drive in, y'all know.
Yes.
Today, the day that we're recording, it's Easter.
Yeah, this is some dedication, motherfuckers.
Yeah. So I spent the late afternoon with my family and came over here so that we could record this evening. And I was having a very, very good drive. I told my parents, because I already told my parents this story when I was with them earlier. I was listening to Taylor Swift, but I wasn't. I was listening to Glass Animals. I'm just always listening to Taylor Swift. So, like, as I was telling the story, I was like, yeah, Taylor Swift blasting. Anyways, I'm listening to Glass Animals. I've got a breakfast burrito from Sonic. I've got the windows rolled down. I'm cranking my music. There's wildflowers on the side of the road. I'm enjoying life.
Did you cry?
Well, I do cry. Okay, I do cry when I drive sometimes because sometimes it is beautiful. Like, I do cry because of beauty often, and I have cried because of Oklahoma sunsets before.
Are you sure it's not depression? I've driven the same road, and it is not a great road. It's very boring.
Listen, sometimes when the sun hits just right,
Sure.
I do get very...
You don't do it at 5 a.m. like she does sometimes.
I do it. I get very grateful to be existing. And so I'll cry. Anyways, sometimes I cry just because I'm happy to be existing. Anyways, I am just cruising and I see lights behind me.
What?
And I was like, fuck. I pull over. I'm like having a grand morning, dude. I'm like, it's not morning, it's the afternoon. I pull over and he's like, ma'am. And I said, hi. He said, are you enjoying your ride? I said, actually, yeah, I am. I'm enjoying my breakfast burrito. The music's really good and the weather is quite beautiful. And like, cause I like word vomit when I'm nervous. And he was like, do you know how fast you were going? And I was like, honestly, sir, I can't say that I do. He's like, do you know what the speed limit is? I said 50. And he was like, you were going 35. I said, oh. He's like, so I pulled you over being slow. And I was like, yeah.
Oh my God.
And I was like going on. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's just a really nice day. You know, the wildflowers and the breakfast burrito. Have you ever had a Sonic breakfast burrito? And he said, no, ma'am, I can't say that I have.
That's crazy.
I said, they're really good. You should try one. And I was like, can I get my license for you? It's in my wallet. I'm on the way to visit my family for Easter. Can you tell? And I have...
Oh, my God.
Y'all can't see this, but on my way here, I was wearing a bright yellow sweater with a knitted bunny on it and carrots, and there's buttons, and the back of my sweater has a bunny butt on it. Like, it's so screaming. And I literally said, on the way to visit my family for Easter, can you tell? And showed him my sweater. And he just looks at me, and I was like, can I get my license for you, please? Oh. And he's like, honestly, ma'am, you're fine.
He said, I need to get the fuck out of here.
He said, just speed up, have a happy Easter. I said, happy Easter. I'm like crying because I just got pulled over for enjoying my ride and going too slow, bro.
I was expecting you to go fast.
No, I know. I was telling my mom and my dad this story, and my mom was like, oh my God, you are so my daughter. I was like, I know. Anyways, that happened to me today.
God.
And he also reminded me my tag expires this month. So that's nice.
Good. Did you know that?
I did. I didn't know that. I didn't want to pay it. You know, I know.
No one does.
But
no one does.
Anyways, I had a very pleasant drive. Very pleasant drive.
Clearly.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I was expecting you to be busting like just...
Yeah, usually I do, but I really was enjoying windows down, listening to Glass Animals.
So funny.
Yeah, it was a grand old
speed it
time.
up, motherfucker.
He said, honestly, ma'am, you're fine. I said,
you're fine.
Thank you.
How old was this person?
He was like probably late 30s.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He didn't want to fuck with me anymore, you know? He was just like, honestly, I don't want to deal with this one. Come on, get. I also have my Gucci sunglasses on. Like, I look ridiculous, guys. Like, my sweater was obnoxiously ridiculous. Anyways.
That's stunning.
Thank you.
Okay. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
One more warning before we go in there. Into the book, I mean. is very, I don't want to, it just includes like grief. The book includes grief, like heartbreak, depression, divorce, and a steamy shower scene. So just a word of warning. We're talking about all that jazz. Okie dokie. I have an overview. This one's a little longer just because the book kind of,
It has layers.
it jumps fucking all over the place.
Yeah.
So to kind of try to make sense of it, I have a general overview, and then I kind of just broke down like their relationship linearly
Okay.
because it's broken
Yeah.
all up in the book, and that would be super confusing. Like when we tried to do that with Every Summer After, I feel like it was crazy.
Yeah.
So I tried to put it together linearly. So it's about Harriet and Wyn. They've recently broke up for reasons not quite clear in the beginning after being together for 8 years, and they haven't told anyone. So when their best friends decide to get married in their favorite vacation spot, they're forced to pretend they're still together for the next week. This is the last week they'll ever have together in this cottage because it's being sold at the end of the week. Like I said, the book is told in 2 timelines. The first one is like meeting her friends, being in college, meeting Wyn, all that, up into present day. And then, of course, present day, Harriet is a surgical resident in California in her 2nd year, I think. That's just from what I've gotten. And Wyn is currently in Montana living with his mother because she was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And they're not together, obviously. I think it said they were broken up for like 5 or 6 months.
I think like 5 months, yeah.
So they met in her last year of college, I think. I think it was like the summer right before her last year of college. They met at this cottage. They snuck around for a while behind their friends' backs. Then they obviously told them. They moved to New York together, and they like all lived together as friends for her first year of medical school. In her 2nd year of medical school, they moved into an apartment together. He proposed to her in that apartment. They didn't really start planning the wedding until they moved to California for her residency, which he came with. And at some point during that first year of her residency in California, Wyn's father died. Wyn gets extremely depressed, and then his mom gets sick. So he moves back to Montana to be with his mom. They try long distance, but they're very distant. It doesn't really work very well. They rarely talked, make excuses to push calls off and visits, and him moving back. She goes out one night, and a coworker kisses her. Unprompted, obviously. And she pushes him away, was like, bye, shuts her door. She calls Wyn and tells him, and like just in that conversation, he was just like, this isn't working out, and they break up, and he hangs up, mails her stuff back. She blocks his number, and they see each other again for the first time at the cabin in front of their friends who doesn't know they're broken up, and they have to pretend that they're fine.
Yeah.
They all know they're living separate, but they don't know they're broken up.
Yeah. And she didn't know that Wyn was going to be there at the cottage.
Yeah, they had originally discussed her going, him not. But the friends were like, yo, this is our last summer at the cabin. We're getting married. You have to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. And even that was a surprise.
Really? Yeah. Yeah, it was a surprise for her.
Yeah, the wedding was
everyone
a surprise.
other than him.
Other than Wyn. Because they had to convince Wyn. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Wyn was like, I would have told you, but you blocked me.
Blocked me, bitch.
Yeah.
So, your initial thoughts on the book?
Initial thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, it was really slow rolling in the beginning.
Okay.
And I was kind of like, okay. And obviously this is a romance, so you have this like anticipation that they are going to get back together. But everything was saying like, oh, they're not. Because they would have like a good conversation, and then one of them would just like, honestly, a lot of it was insecurity, like got in the way. For sure, on both sides. So for a while, the first like 100 pages like kind of took me a while. And then after that, I was like, oh, okay, it's starting to pick up. But overall, I mean, it's an Emily Henry, so we know I'm going to love it. Like the complex layers of like her characters actually have depth to them. They all have background stories. You know a little bit of every single one of them, and they all accumulate to this big storyline that actually feels like you could meet these people in real life. And that is something I will always love about Emily Henry.
Yeah.
Even if she didn't write romance, I would read her books because they are just so full of depth.
She has written other things.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Really?
They're YA, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She's like a YA sci-fi.
Really?
I think, yeah.
I had no idea. I literally thought it was just like
before Betrayed. They just Beetrade was the thing that blew up, and she's just stayed on that train.
Yeah, well, she's doing really fucking well with it.
Yeah, she is.
Really?
Selling every one of them bitches.
Also, did you see the little, I think the cameo from Beetrade?
Yes. Oh, it's
okay,
in
you
there.
saw it? Okay, I was like, am I
Yeah.
reading into this, or is this their little cameo? Because they never say their names.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cute. Because, because Abby Jimenez did it too with like the bakery or whatever that she actually owns like in real life. And then she talks about it a little too much.
Nadia Cakes. Just kidding.
Fire.
I need a new partner.
Yeah. Like, opening for a podcast host. Anyways.
Requirement, don't set alarms on your phone.
Don't set alarms on your phone. I think, I will say I don't think it's my favorite yet, but it impacted me personally a little bit more than I think her others have. But I think I like reading because I like to escape. And
This one's close.
this book was really deep and kind of heavy, very real. And there are aspects of the book where I found myself relating to a little too closely, to where for me, because of why I read, it can't be a favorite, you know?
Yeah.
Like Midnight Library is one of those books that impacted me in a different way. And so it impacted me positively. It helped me move forward. And I'm not saying that this had anything to do with like moving forward or whatever. It just, I want to leave real life. I don't want to feel like I'm, So it's beautifully written, beautiful story. For Caitlin, though, it's not a favorite, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So you've read this one, Beetrade.
People We Meet on Vacation. Yeah.
I think that's it. Mm-hmm. Which one's your favorite, you think?
I think still Beetrade. Yeah, People We Meet on Vacation, I read very early on in my romance reading, and it was actually probably one of my first, like, sex scenes I ever read, and I was like, whoa, they put this in literature? And she's so mild compared to what we read now. Like, so mild. But, yeah, I think Beetrade is probably still my favorite of hers. But I've heard really good things about Book Lovers.
Me too. I haven't read it.
I own it, but I haven't read it. Story of my life.
Truly.
Truly. And your opinions?
Obviously, I liked it because I forced you to read it.
Yeah.
But I agree, like, it is a little, you're like, ugh,
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
But I cried both times I read this book.
Yeah.
I feel like I cried for different reasons both times, though. Mm-hmm. This one, I feel like I cried more of the friendship aspect.
Okay.
Like, even the first page,
Yes.
I started crying.
When I cried in this, it was the friendship aspect of things too. It wasn't even the romance. Like this is, yeah.
Which, obviously, the romance was sad. But the first time I read it, I cried because of the romance. And at that time as well, it was when Taylor Swift's You're Losing Me came out on streaming. So I was listening to, it's one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs. So I was probably listening to that 24/7.
Yeah.
Just that song, nothing else.
No, you
Fuck
were
the rest of them. That song.
You loved that song.
Yeah. I
her-
still cry listening to it.
I still
It's
cry too.
Crazy.
I still cry too. I have a very vivid memory of her and I in the car listening to this song. Both start tearing to this song, and we're both in very happy long-term relationships.
Yeah.
But still, it's so
sad.
yeah.
And this, I feel like this song fits with this book
Yeah.
really well. So, like, when I was reading it the first time, I was just, like, thinking of that song and all the feelings of that song, too. And then this, I just felt like they are one and the same. And so I feel like that is what made me cry the most the first time. But this one was the friendship. Like, even the first page is, I fucking quoted it 'cause it's beautiful. I quoted a lot because Emily Henry's beautiful.
She did the
writer,
one.
So
She has
buckle
the
fuck
one
up for my quotes today.
She has the one line about like feeling like a teacup about to boil over, and that's
Yeah.
what joy feels like, and that still resonates. Like I still feel that. It's so good. It's so good.
So this is when she's talking about her friends, like her college roommate friends. She said, it still boggles my mind that we didn't know one another before that a stodgy housing committee in Vermont matched the three of us up. The most important friendships in my life all came down to a decision made by strangers. Chance.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, I know that didn't really happen. Well, kind of.
No.
Like your roommate, Brody,
I mean,
was
yeah.
random.
So now my current roommate, like I love Brody.
Yeah.
Like we're moving out of our current situation and we're taking him with us. Like I love Brody, and I am thankful that like we got him because it was random. Because the roommate we had before him was god awful. Like I swear, don't catch me outside. Like awful, awful.
Yeah, I can go
Roommates are
either.
that way though. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, sometimes you get a dud.
Yeah. Well,
My
That's
first
the college life.
literally dud. That was rough verbiage.
Yeah.
Dud. Damn.
But
yeah,
it's
like
true.
that's how I
is.
met, like one of my college roommates I'm still really close with. And
Yeah.
I still talk to a lot of them, but one of them I met in high school, so I don't count that one. But
Shout out Taylor.
yeah. But I was just like, oh, that's who I was thinking of most of it. But I was just like, oh, that's so crazy. Because, like, technically she matched with our dud roommate. I just moved in there because I knew the dud roommate from high school. And so it was just like really, I know, that's how we're going to talk about her. I was friends with her boyfriend in high school. And I was like, hey, I'm going to college. Do you know anyone that needs a roommate? He's like, my girlfriend. I was like, bet, put me in, coach. Put me in there. I need a roommate.
Yeah.
Get me in that house. And then the friend I'm really close to now actually matched with her on like the like matching quiz thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we became really close. So it's just so weird. Like, it's crazy.
It is. So I currently work in student housing, off-campus student housing. So I was not a part of this year's roommate matching situation, but I will be going into this next leasing year.
Like you'll love that.
I think I'll love it. But there is one unit that I'm thinking of in particular, all 5 of them, random girls. Random.
The besties for the resty now.
Bro, it is so cute. They renewed as soon as they could, all 5 of them. So they're living a whole other year together. And every time I see them on property, I live near them also as well. They're always together. Like they're driving together. They're like cooking dinners together, hanging out in the living room. They're almost annoying. They're so cute because also like weekends are crazy at that house. Like, and I think it's so sweet. And I love that. Like we had a part in that, you know?
Yeah.
I love that.
And they'll probably be friends forever.
Yeah, they'll probably be friends forever.
Just like these people.
Yes.
It was just cute.
Yeah.
So the friendship part, I feel like, is what got me this time. So cute, so cute.
Yeah. When I started like actually like losing my shit, it was at the end of the book when the 3
Friends.
girls are finally like hashing their shit out.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah.
I think also this time I read it, I liked the ending more.
Oh, what did you think the first time?
Hated it. I thought, obviously this is a stupid thought.
Okay.
It's a fucking romance book, but I've been complaining about this for a long time.
I thought we were going to get it.
This was the first book where I was like, oh,
Are
they're
they
not going to end up together.
They're not going to end up together.
That's fucking crazy, but
Yeah.
I kind of love it, especially for them. I thought that was like the move
Yeah.
was for them to not end up together, which obviously would be fucking sad and devastating, but fucking happens. You know
I mean,
what I'm saying?
all of their issues were valid.
For sure.
Like they were all like that all made sense. Like why they would be driven away they would, the why she thought what he thought, like, you know,
Yeah.
it all made sense. So if it was going to be a book, it would have been this one. And it would have made sense.
Yeah. This was the first one where I was like, I kind of want that in a book. Like, I kind of want them to not end up together.
Yeah.
And, like, this one was the first one. I was like, this would have been really good. So the first one I read it, I was kind of pissed because I wanted them to end up not together. I think this time I kind of understood it more and I was, like, more okay with it. There was this thing at the end of the book. I plan on reading it later, so buckle up. It was in mine. I don't know about yours, but it's called Behind the Book. Emily Henry wrote it.
You know I don't read that shit.
I know. I just did this time for funsies, and it
probably
made me, I think, appreciate the ending a little bit better. You probably do.
Yeah. We really should read these discussion questions too. I mean,
we can give them a gander
we
later.
should start doing that. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah.
But yeah, that.
Okay.
It made me appreciate the ending more.
I liked the ending.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, I got worried there for a bit because I did know that they ended up together because you wouldn't have recommended a book to me if they didn't end up together.
I don't know. I think I might have.
But you're right, romance. If it was contemporary fiction, different story.
Yeah.
But it's contemporary romance, so they have to end up together.
Yeah.
But no, I liked it. I liked how they kind of both stood their ground until she finally realized that she was fucking lying to herself all this time. And I loved when she called her parents and was like, I dropped out. And they were like, no, we'll come. We'll figure it out. And she's
we're
like,
on the way.
I'm actually at the airport right now. Bye. And like hangs up and is
her
like,
family shit was also, I think, great. Like, just all the family stuff in this book, too.
but
this
also
time.
like so real.
Sadly.
So real.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was good. In depth. Like, yeah. And only like less than 400 pages. She was able to accomplish all of this emotion feeling. And yeah, 385 pages of pure gold.
Pure gold.
Pure
If you want to
gold.
cry.
If you want to cry.
Well, maybe not. Maybe you're not as sensitive as us.
If you have friends or a lover, you're going to fucking cry. So, Jesus. I mean,
God
like.
damn. You got friends. If you don't, well,
Wow.
maybe you'll be fine.
I feel like you should be reading.
Oh my gosh. When we go back to see like how they first met, Wyn was, which I found interesting, he was pretty much obsessed with her from the jump. And then, but he was also like really open and honest with her at the very beginning, like with his feelings and all that. And I felt, I don't know, I was kind of, I guess, disappointed later when he was not that way at all. You know, just the way they ended.
Yeah, he was like, I told you it'd always be you. And it's like, but you haven't been telling me shit for the last year, buddy friend.
Buddy friend?
You know?
Yeah, I just found that interesting, like when they first met. Just even the first time he met her, he was like, you're beautiful. I like you. We're gonna blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just no filter, very open and honest. And then I was just kind of like, where'd that go, my guy?
Yeah, where'd that go, my guy? Because a lot of like the declarations of love that happened at the end, I was like, y'all could have said that. Like, that actually wasn't hard.
Yeah,
like, what they said wasn't hard to say. Yeah. Like, I love you. This sucks. I didn't know how to help you. I was trying to be cool. Well, I fucking felt like you weren't trying to be cool. You were trying to be distant from me, so I felt like I was annoying you. Like, how hard is that? That's not... I feel like...
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That was another thing that irritated me about this book the first time is, like, the whole book could have been solved very easily with just a fucking conversation.
Yeah, and if you feel...
singular one. Yeah, honestly.
One singular conversation. Yeah, miscommunication trope.
Woof. Which is, that's what she talks about in the behind the book. I'm going to read it now.
Yeah, let's do it.
So she said this was her version of a comedy of remarriage. I guess that's a trope of sorts in a TV. Never heard of it, but she brings up a bunch of examples.
Okay.
You ever heard of that shit? Probably not.
Comedy of remarriage?
Yeah. She brings up some movies, bringing up Baby, His Girl Friday, The Lady Eve. Never heard of any of these bitches. But anyway, she said this was my take on it. Blah, blah, blah. She said, Wyn and Harriet's version of a comedy of remarriage looks a bit different. Their history is less gags and hijinks and more quiet failures, small untruths, imagined slights, accumulations of little hurts, and sure, miscommunication, which we all hate. We hate it so much we've come to consider it a trope in itself. Just talk about it, we scream at our books and TVs. But in real life, for many of us, confrontation is terrifying. The thought of telling someone they hurt us or asking if we've hurt them, starting a conversation whose ending we can't predict is terrifying, even if we can't name the things we're so afraid of on the other end. She said, being rejected, knowing for certain that the person we care about doesn't care for us in the same way, deepening a shallow cut past the point of being able to heal. She said, I think sometimes we are simply afraid to need. We're afraid that if we ask too much, if we bare our tenderest wounds and show our ugliest sides, we'll find out that we aren't lovable, that we can only keep the ones we love around us as long as we cost them nothing, create no burden. Yeah, so when I read all that, I was like, all right, I'll let the miscommunication trope pass this time.
Yeah, because there are a lot of levels, sections in this book where she's like talking about how she makes almost like bids or deals with the universe. She's like, if I do this, then this will happen. If I make less of myself, essentially, then I'll be less of a burden. My people around me will be happy. And this is like carried over into her entire life. So I guess it isn't necessarily miscommunication, but like a misrepresentation of the idea of self and like what you are doing to yourself to appease others and how that's actually not doing what you think it is.
Which, I mean, Harriet is a fucking hardcore people pleaser.
Hardcore people pleaser.
So I think that's
and
a big part of the problem.
And I feel like not in the normal people pleaser way. Like I feel like hers is more like underlying and subtle. Because usually you can see a people pleaser from like a mile away, but it seems like Wyn's really the only one that can see that this is what's happening. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, the family shit really fucked her up, bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was a lot of it. When I mean, I guess I get it too. Like, you know, what put the strain in it was his dad dying and him being depressed. And she didn't know what to do. She didn't want to, I get her not wanting to plan a wedding at that,
Yeah.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
And he sees that as, I guess a sort of rejection, but
like
she's...
her, like, pushing it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, she's thinking, like, he's not in a good spot.
Yeah.
So like I got all that part. Of course, him going to Montana and then all that crap was a little different. Like, oh, it's fine you didn't call. Oh, it's fine you didn't come. Like, those were different, but I can see how the crack started for sure. Like, that made sense to me. Because, I mean, like, what are you supposed to...
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get married a week after that. Like, you're just not.
Yeah, no. Anyone would put a pause on things like that. And it's also bad. Like, people say, like, don't get married after, like, a major life event. Because shit happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad day.
Very sad.
So when they go on this little trip, we kind of already talked about how the friends didn't know they were broken up. It's not 100% true.
It's not.
Fucking Sabrina
Bro,
and what's
that
her
actually
butt.
pissed me off.
Yeah, Sabrina and what's her butt. What's her husband's name?
Parth.
Thank you. I almost said Porter. I'm like, that's not right. They knew. Which, you know, obviously I knew that because I've already read it. But rereading it, I could tell from the beginning.
Yeah.
She knew. She was probing in the car even on the way to on the way home to the cabin from the airport. She's like, where's Wyn? What's Wyn up to?
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, I read it differently, of course, knowing like.
No, I
She
mean,
knew.
I knew there was a secret because she was so short-tempered, like, the whole time. And they always talked about, like, how easygoing she was and how blah, blah. But I didn't see that in, like, the modern day, like, present day that we were reading. But I did not think that they fucking knew. And because Wyn didn't know that they knew.
Correct.
Which is, like, what? I don't know. If I know something, I'm going to be like, yo, what the fuck? You know, like, I'm not sitting on that. I'm not sitting on that.
I mean, no, she should have said something, obviously. But it kind of talked about in the end, they weren't really as close anymore. So and I mean, I think Sabrina is just like a grudge harbinger. She was just like fucking festering in this anger.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
At both of them. That's why their little friendship argument happened. Because they don't reach out anymore or they're not in touch anymore. And they're, you know, she's mad at Cleo for canceling her visit. And
Yeah.
so instead of being a grown-up and reaching out about it, she decides to plan this week to force them to be together and not tell them about it. Try to get them back together, kind of. And then, so obviously, like I said, on the way home from the airport, she's like questioning about Wyn. Of course, Wyn's there. They put him in a different room.
Yeah.
Force them to sleep in the same bed. Because I guess the room they'd stayed in for every year prior to this had 2 twin beds.
Yeah.
Which they had pushed together, but in her head there, she was like, okay, we'll have 2 different beds. But they put them in the master this time, which they've never done. The part where they go to the wine cellar and they get locked, I think she locked it.
Oh, you think she locked it? Oh,
do.
because she's the one that sent both of them down into the cellar.
Yeah, because when Harriet went down there and she was like, oh.
I guess Sabrina forgot she sent Wyn down here. And
Sabrina didn't forget shit. Sabrina didn't forget shit. Sabrina's a sneaky little bitch and locked him in there, in my opinion.
Oh, she most definitely did.
Yeah.
She most definitely did. That's
So,
crazy.
like, those are things I caught the second time because I knew she knew.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry, a song just came in my head.
I was like, what the fuck? What was it?
It's not even,
I was like,
I don't even know what song it
Mine
is.
would have been ushered, but yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But those were some interesting little tidbits.
Yeah.
And then.
I keep doing that.
Yeah. It's the only word you got.
Yeah. I say that word a lot. Ooh, I'm going to try
Y'all
not
get a counter. Someone count. Go to the beginning, count how many yas we get from her.
Oh my god.
Or take a shot and let us know when you get admitted to the hospital.
In the intro, I remember thinking, Caitlin, you've agreed a lot already. Like, my first 6 words, I think, were, yeah.
Oh no. I'm gonna do a compilation.
Oh.
Or let's be honest, Joe
Joe.
will have to do it.
Of yes.
That would.
You also use like, and not just you. You and Bailey
Okay, I
both.
was about to be like.
I can give you a list of all the
No,
words you
no one
use
wants that.
As somebody that watches the video over and over and does all the shorts, I can tell you everything you say a lot of.
You know, I actually...
Which I use like a lot too.
Yeah.
Like, so.
It's now like a... I have wanted to ask you in the past to do a compilation of Bailey and I like freak laughing, not just like our giggles,
Like our
but like
hyenas?
you have sent me pictures.
Oh, I have a folder of blackmail photos of just like terrible faces. And
That's amazing.
that's just funny.
Yeah, because didn't Ben send you screenshots of us one time?
Yes.
He was like, look what I got. And I was like, that's awful, actually. That's so
Delete
rude.
it.
That's so rude. Ben, just kidding. I love you.
He's okay.
Oh my god.
I'm joking.
He's joking, man. He's joking.
Oh my goodness. Anyways,
All that to say,
all that
Sabrina
to say.
is a sneaky little bitch.
Yeah. Parth should have talked to Wyn about it, I think.
Yeah, when he saw it.
Be
What
like,
the hell?
Bruh, what the fuck is this? Like,
Yeah.
what is that? Bruh.
Can you see your partner doing that with his best friend, though?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know them. I've never met the other one, so.
Actually, I think Zach would say something to Aaron.
Yeah, I stand the other way, dude.
I don't know. I think Aaron would be like, oh, fuck, that ain't my business.
Yeah.
You know? But
And he would tell you, don't
I
even
don't
lie.
know if he would tell me. But even if he did tell me, I'm
not
not going
gonna-
to trap
you're not
him
gonna
into
do
a
a
wine
coup.
cellar.
Yeah, you're not gonna stage a coup. And like fucking,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a lot, obviously.
That was a lot. Oh my gosh, imagine how much stress she would have too. Like, not only is it the last time you're going to spend the summer at the cottage, the
Oh, yeah.
last time you're going to get together, like, for sure. Because now it is, like, up in the air. Like, yeah, you could plan another vacation, but it's the cottage that brings
Yeah.
them together. And then also now you're getting married. And also now you have to make sure your best friends stay together. She was having a terrible time, guys.
It's not her job to get them back together.
You're right.
But it's fun.
He's staging a coup.
But it's fun. Yeah, I don't know. But
Cleo being pregnant, though, I did not
I
see
cried,
that
I think.
coming. I didn't see it coming, and I did cry.
I forgot.
You forgot?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I think at some point in the book I was like, I remember being like, I feel like there was a similar character who was pregnant. I know I said it several times. And I was like, maybe it wasn't this book. Maybe it wasn't this book. Then it was revealed, and I was like, oh, it was.
It was. That's like it was.
I was like, I have a faint memory of this happening, but I can't remember if it was this one.
That's another one of the things that I feel like justified a lot of the actions. Like
Hers, for
a
sure.
lot of her actions were justified.
Once again, if you go back and read it,
Yeah.
she skips every alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, she does.
everything.
And she's just like, I'm not drinking.
I think that's what kind of
Yeah.
tickled my brain cells of what.
Well, I
thinking,
thought we
like,
were going to get some sort of traumatic backstory. That's what I thought was going to happen. That something had happened. She was kind of keeping that secret, and then that was going to come out. I did not see a pregnancy coming. Because, one, they're two women married together. So they had to
Yeah.
get a donor. So that was not in my...
when she asked them two to be like the godmothers,
Stop.
I cried for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
because...
that's such like the biggest honor you could give somebody.
Yeah,
I
because
just
when
freaking
Harriet
cried
was
my
like,
eyes out.
oh my God, I'm going to be an aunt. She was like, Hair, you're going to be a godmother.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. There's so many aspects of just like, yeah, the friendship is what got me. Like the romance was almost secondary in this book. Like it really was like the story of her and her people, not just her and Wyn.
her little clan.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it was.
I'm gonna jump back very far again. I'm so sorry. That first time they met again, Wyn and Harriet. They had spent a week in the cottage. Like the first time they met wasn't in this cottage area. The week they always spend. For some reason, that trip they went around and was like, say something that you would do or be if you could change your life. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you remember when they played that game?
Yeah.
You remember Wyn's answer?
No.
Guess not. Wyn's answer was he wished he would have stayed in Montana, like his parents did.
Yeah.
And like knowing the end at that point, I was like, "Ugh, he told you from the get go."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that was. I was like, "Damn."
I mean, because he did. He picked up his life and he just followed Harriet, you know?
Well,
like,
not just that. He went to college. He even said
Yeah.
that part. he doesn't know if he would do because he didn't do great in college. He struggled.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he had to stay an extra year for like not passing a class. Like he's not Harriet. You know, like he's not straight A school. He just went to get away, and he was like, I think this is like what I'm supposed to do is go to college. And I don't even know what his degree. Oh, business, I think. Right.
Yeah.
So it was just him being like, I wish I would have stayed in Montana and never left. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh my gosh.
Just knowing how the story unfurls, I was like, fuck, that hurt me really bad.
I did think that at the end, being like, this would be a book that I could reread because also it is just beautiful. Like the way that she writes a lot of like paragraphs to just kind of explain a feeling or explain a moment that just like resonates, you know? So because I was reading this for the podcast, I was reading it with a different kind of intention. But if I started again and read it with a different intention, I think I would like it for different reasons. Oh. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the romance was secondary for me. It was very much about friendship.
Those are the best stories. I like friendship stories.
Yeah. I don't think there's another romance book that we've read for the podcast that kind of delves into the friendship aspect like this one has, you know? I mean, we've read a bunch where like the siblings are great or the friend is great, like, but they're like a secondary. This is a different kind of depth, I feel like, when it comes to friendship.
Definitely different. The only one I can think of that had like a close friendship that even mattered really was Bride.
Really? Because I was thinking Part of Your World. Yeah.
What friendship are you talking about in Bride?
Her friend that was fucking kidnapped. The whole plot was to figure out where the fuck she went.
Yeah, but she wasn't a part of the book until
I know.
the
I'm just
very
saying,
end.
like, she's the only one I feel like the friendship even was somewhat part of it.
Yeah, I feel like
Part of Your World, she was just kind of there to like. She was just like a hype girl. I feel like she didn't really. Nothing deep.
I guess you're
meaningful,
right.
Really.
Maybe I don't even
I guess
know.
they're right there.
They are. I mean, they're not all
of them,
but a good chunk of them. No, I mean,
I guess technically Love Life. I don't know.
I was about to say that. I was like,
But
the friends are really
no.
good, but the friends are good in that book because they will get their own book, so they have to have a little bit of like foundation, not actually for plot. I don't know. Yeah, no, I think this one was the most. Like
some of these people, I'm like
encompassing.
They even have
I know. I'm like looking at.
They didn't even have friends.
Yeah. Every summer after
One True Love?
they were their friends.
She had no friends.
She had no friends.
She had no friends.
Yeah.
Not a Juan. So that's crazy. Variation.
They were not.
No friends.
No plot.
She had sisters, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not friends.
I think
One
a
True Love,
sibling
she
can
had a
be
sister.
friends.
Yeah.
Okay. He's different.
There is also a sister in this one, but she is like tertiary character.
The family aspects of this tertiary. Did we even? Oh yeah, we saw her face like once. I was like, did we even see her face?
Yeah, in a flashback. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Barely.
Barely.
She was there and left.
Yeah. The text conversation at the end was nice.
But I mean, I feel like the family stuff was, especially the sister, you know, like, I'm not super close to my sister either. There's like a large age gap.
You are so not close to your sister that I forget you have a sister.
Yeah, no one even knows I have a sister. Joe probably forgets I have a sister, and he's met her.
I don't forget.
Did you meet her?
Yes.
Once?
One time.
Yeah, exactly.
I forget you have a
Did
sister.
that shock you?
I mean, every time you say it, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, you have a sister.
Yeah.
Because.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I have.
Yeah, ours is different. These two at least grew up in the same house, but.
Yeah. How long have I known you? 5 years now?
2019?
29. Yeah. So almost 6 years. Mm-hmm. Wow. And I've nary a detail
Since
about your
then,
sister.
I've seen my sister once.
And she has kids, right? 2?
3.
3? Yeah.
She's older than me, for
yeah.
sure. God. Yeah. I don't know how much older than me, to be honest. I don't even know how old she is. Like, that's how bad it is. I don't know anything.
I can't believe I forget that. But I do. Every time you say it, I do know that. Just kidding. High chance. Every time you say it, I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah, you do. Because I forget every time.
So I like that part because I kind of resonated with that, sort of.
Yeah.
They were at least a little bit closer.
Yeah.
A lot of it, actually. But
yeah.
Anyway.
She's friends with my sister, so she knows I have a sister.
Yeah. I've met her, I guess, a couple times.
A couple of times.
Wyn's just sweet.
Oh, Wyn is amazing. I actually think Wyn is the most not relatable, but like a lot of these.
You probably like him.
Okay.
I am trying to say, and it's not going to come out the way that I'm meaning
blonde,
it.
Though. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
He's what?
Blonde.
He's blonde. I'm trying to say that in other books, the male main character is usually perfect and has like one flaw. And so it's kind of like, okay, that's not realistic. Wyn was realistic, dude. Like, for real. Realistic. And I like him a lot for that because he wasn't perfect. Yeah, he said really, really sweet
Emily
things.
Henry's good at that.
Emily Henry is good at that. She's good at showing humanity. Like, there's so much to us. But, yeah, he says really nice things, and he does really nice things, but he's also a dick, you know? And he also is insecure. Yeah, calling a 4-minute breakup and sending someone stuff in the mail 2 days later, that's a dick move.
Okay.
No matter how hurt you are,
Yeah.
that's a dick move. But, no, he's an onion.
Oh, my God.
He got liars.
He's an onion.
He's an onion.
In the
Always relate it back to Shrek.
Shrek, always.
Yeah.
Little the onion. In the cottage in the present day, they go out drinking, whatever. And then the next morning, Wyn gave her like water and Motrin or something because obviously she's going to be hungover. And then she said, I don't need you to take care of me. And he says, you've always made that clear. Bro, that's when I was like, ugh, girl, you're killing me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was like, are you blind? He love you. Just tell him.
He love you.
Just tell him you love him.
And he kept asking her throughout the whole book, oh,
Are you happy?
oh, yes, he would. And it just the first time, that was the first time he asks. After that, he says, you know, he asks her if she's happy and she doesn't answer. And they get Saved by the Bell as her. Parth does this stupid little air horn bullshit. And so she never answers.
Yeah.
But obviously in her inner head, we know she's not and all that. But other times he asks, she'll say yes. Or like, I'm like, okay, so
Listen.
you're telling him he did the right thing.
Yeah, listen. I'm too big of a bitch. I would be like, actually, you want to fucking know how I am? Let me tell you, sit down. It's going to be a while. You know, like, I'm not going to be like trying to appease. No, motherfucker, you broke up with me. I'm going to tell you how it is. You know what I'm saying? I got nothing to lose at this point. No, I ain't fucking happy, dickhead. You know, I would not be like, yeah, and just inside I'm like, no.
Whoa.
No, I'm not doing it. Maybe that's another reason why I didn't like it. I didn't resonate with Harriet at all. Well, we won't talk about it though.
Oh my gosh. She was a little, yeah, that stuff made me mad, but she just like would not
Yeah, and I'm like, he's
say anything.
He's like trying to
So
get
hard.
it out of you. He's literally like in so little words being like, talk to me. And she's like, everything's fine. You lie.
That scared the shit out of me. There's Daisy in her bed.
Oh, okay.
She's like digging.
Okay.
She likes to dig before she lays down. I don't know what she's digging for here.
I think she's like trying to move the cushion around, but it's like a rigid bed. So I don't know what she's really moving around.
And she does it so much, there's giant gashes in her bed now. Like
Oh, wow.
stuffing giant gashes.
Poor Daisy.
Why is she scratching her bed?
No, yeah, she's like
She's
making
gotten
biscuits.
several beds in her lives, and she just fucking destroys them.
Oh, so it's not just this bed.
No, she's
The
had
other one,
several.
she's rage destroyed. This one is just trying to get comfortable. The other ones were when she was younger, or like I put it in the kennel with her, and she gets mad. She's in the kennel, so she just fucking tears it up. So, anyway.
She's murderous.
Murderous. She loves her bed now, but she just kind of scratches it up a bit. I don't know. Another beautiful quote. Are you ready?
Yes.
This is talking about Wyn. He became my best friend the way the others did. Bit by bit, sand passing through an hourglass so slowly it's impossible to pin down the moment it happens, when suddenly more of my heart belongs to him than doesn't, and I know I'll never get a single grain back. Isn't that so pretty?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is. There were so many times where she talks about like his love just being like, you know, she's like enveloped by it. It's not like a conscious walk into type situation. It's just like it becomes her. You know, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then they go out to the bar and she wears her vengeance dress.
yeah.
That part made me laugh. I was like, there we go, lady. That's some
There it
realistic
is.
shit.
That's what I'm talking about. And then when she's like sitting on his lap and being all flirtatious, I'm like, yeah, show him what he's missing, girly. You know, you're just.
But it's her fault.
But it's her fault.
That they're not together in my
Well,
at this time. She blocked him.
okay.
She
Heard.
at this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
She keeps saying she's happy and totally fine and wonderful.
See, if they would have just talked at the beginning of this trip, they could have spent the week like having a grand old time.
Grand old time.
And instead, they're miserable until the last 2 days where they're semi okay. You know? It's not good until she leaves. And then she's like, the fuck am I doing? You know, very.
Yeah, it didn't even say how long she was back in California. Did she even go?
No, she was at the airport.
That's right.
Turned around, went outside, and Wyn is there. And he's like, I would have got on that plane. I would have found you at the ticket. Like, I would have blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, why did you have to do all that? She's been right in front of you for 5 days now. You know?
Well,
I get it. I get it.
he didn't want to, you know. She's doing her residency. He's not going to ask her to come back to Montana.
Yeah, and like you said, if a book was not going to end up with them together, it would have been this one, because she really does have a life. She cannot leave, and he has a life. He cannot leave, and they're not in the same state. Yeah, it would have been understandable. Unfortunately,
But apparently she hated it,
yeah,
which makes sense.
yeah.
Residency sounds like absolute fucking hell. So, I get it. So she said, I'm quitting this. Fuck my $300,000 in student loans.
That's what's insane. Actually,
I'm going to pay for it by working at a pottery barn.
Yeah.
Or whatever that is.
Not even like just become a primary care, you know.
She would have to still redo her residency.
Yeah, but that's.
I know. Go to Montana and find one or something.
Yeah, go to Montana, find a primary care residency.
Yep.
2 or 3 years, you're a doctor.
Yeah, I agree. I was like, you could do something else with this degree, my guy. You don't have to be a surgeon.
I did feel like that was a little, like,
Drastic of a move.
yeah, obviously there's stuff in another state. Like, doctors are needed everywhere, you know? So, but I don't know. I know nothing about how residency works. I know nothing about how, like, the pairing works and how to get into that position. So I have no idea how hard it would be to get out of it, but I did not anticipate it to be that hard. You know? Where the alternative is just to quit.
I think, I obviously don't know either, but I think she could quit that and then work on getting into another residency program, like going through all the steps she did to get to that one initially. She'd have to match and pair and all that jazz and do interviews and stuff, but she'd have to start from scratch.
I don't think so. I really, because there's a base level of knowledge that you learn in any residence. Like, what you're basically learning is the everyday ins and out of that program, I guess you could say. It's like on-job training. So if you're switching from a surgical resident to, let's say, primary care, I feel like you're probably overqualified for knowledge base. You probably just need the general interactions of going into an office and talking to somebody rather than cutting them.
I still think they'd make you do it all.
I don't think so.
Well, we have a resident right now who had to start from scratch. He did 1 year in a surgical residency, didn't rematch, and he had to start over at our residency.
Yeah, but that's still not the same. It's not.
You're a pediatrician,
That's another skilled profession.
I guess.
Like I'm saying, like a primary care is probably like the base level of specialties here. Peds is an extra bit.
It's just primary care for children.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. That's just how I feel, but I have zero idea.
I mean, if she didn't like it, you know, she didn't like it. But it also could have been the atmosphere. It could have been where she was, the fact she didn't have her people. There could have been a lot of things playing into, you know, feeling that way.
I mean, there's also the bit of, like, did she even want to do any of that in the first place?
No. And
You
that's
know
what she kind of comes out to
Yeah.
figure out. It's like, oh, I literally was just doing this to make my parents proud. Which, the thing that her mom says at the end, like...
Bro.
Kind of like...
Scary.
It pissed me off, honestly. I don't know. I don't know if pissed me off is the right thing of what I'm thinking, but she was like, no, I gave it all up for your dad. I didn't give it up for you, which Harriet had thought the entire time that her mom gave up like all of these things in order to raise her children. Yeah. And she was like, no, I gave it up for him. And now look at us. Like, we're kind of miserable, essentially. Like, actually, why are they still married? You know, their kids are out of the house. Why couldn't they just, you know, like.
Probably because she doesn't have any. She didn't work, did she?
Oh, you're right. No, you're right.
She didn't finish college.
She
got no money.
She's got nothing, you know?
Not to say she doesn't have skills, but no work experience for 30 fucking years.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. So, I mean,
that's why.
I get it. But her being overprotective of Harriet and being like, I didn't want that for you, and kind of putting that block on her and only seeing it through that. Like, she was only seeing Wyn through, the mother was only seeing Wyn through what Harriet's dad did, like her own personal experiences. She didn't see it through Harriet's eyes and why she would love him and why blah, 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 you know? So that was really upsetting because it doesn't feel like mom and dad had an awakening of any kind, you know?
Oh, no, they just stayed together.
They stayed in their relationship.
Well, at least the dad doesn't seem bad.
No, neither one of them seem bad.
Yeah.
It's
not like she's in a bad marriage. She's just in a loveless one.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is bad, but
so
he's not an abuser or anything.
Harriet having this idea of what that marriage looks like and her mom kind of never apologizing for it. Do you know what I mean? Well, like, there was no growth there. There was no, like, connection. It was just like a misunderstanding. There was the explanation, but then it was, I don't know. I guess that's life. You don't always get an apology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, parents fuck you up, and then you just have to deal with it.
My mom always says, no matter what you do, you're going to fuck your kid up one way or another. It's kind of like what you do after that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
And I mean, I guess I see it on one, like, she obviously, you know, once again, every parent wants their children to have a better life than they did. And so
yeah,
she didn't want her. She's fucking miserable. She didn't want that life for Harriet. Period.
But I don't think she was looking at anything with an open mind.
For sure.
Yeah. Very blinded. Yeah.
She did end up going to Montana and doing her little pottery class bullshit, but she said
did.
she seemed miserable the whole time. But
yeah.
the dad seemed so cute.
Yeah, I think of the two, I liked him more.
Yeah. So, speaking of the mom, I think when their relationship kind of started to crack was when they took Wyn to visit her parents. Because while they were there, they were like, her and her mom went to go do the dishes. And the mom said, you know, she's like, Mom, like, what do you think of him?
Yeah.
You know, as anyone child would with their parents. And that's also why they're fucking there. The mom said she doesn't see them making each other happy in the end. He'll want to move home and have kids. Then, almost immediately after that, during this trip, he's like looking at baby pictures and mentions kids, her being a mom, all that. And so she's kind of like, oh, fuck. Like, maybe my mom was right. Like, I want a career. He wants a wife.
Sowed seeds of doubt.
Yeah. That was when that's when she started pushing off the wedding. That's when she started to be like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, when it all started to
implode. And it was such a subtle and slow implosion that it was, and I think that's how it's also realistic in that way, is that, like, usually things like this are slow. It's like chip at a chip, you know? Yeah.
So also on that trip with the parents, you know, after the wedding or after the kids mention, they have a conversation. And he was like, do you want me to promise I'll love you forever? Because I will. And she said, just promise me we will end things before we ever get like that. If we're making each other unhappy, We can't keep going. I couldn't stand living every day knowing you resent me. And he said, I'm not going to stop fighting for you, Harriet. So I think her saying all that is why he broke up with her.
Because he felt like he was making her unhappy, not that she was making him unhappy. Yes, I know. Oh,
That's what I'm saying. It all started right there.
you're so right. You're
He remembered her saying that.
Yes.
And saying she didn't want a marriage like her parents. And I think he felt like that was the marriage they were having, or, the relationship they were having at that time. So he said, this isn't working. Ended it. Panic ended it. But then he also said, I'm not going to stop fighting for you. And he kind of did. So I don't really know.
But did he? We don't know.
That's true. We don't know because she fucking blocked his ass.
Now we know that Parth saw
Several.
text after text after text that never fucking got to her. He did not stop fighting.
I wish I could have seen what they said.
I know.
What the heck, Emily?
Dual POV, please.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Then later on we find out in Montana he's been making and selling furniture.
And doing a bomb-ass job at it.
Yeah, making a frick ton of money.
Yeah.
Sounds like. And he says, I'm really happy. You too, right? She said, yeah, me too. Heart shatters around the world. Oh, man. You good?
Yeah, this was one of those books that whenever I finished it this morning,
No one was going to out you, and you outed yourself.
I just need to be honest. I closed it. I'm like laying on my couch. I closed it. I like held it to my chest for a little, released a couple more tears, and was like, man, that one did it. Like that one made you feel something. Joe laughing at me.
Are you shocked?
No.
I mean, they're supposed to, I would hope. Books are.
Well,
stories are.
that's
That's
true.
why we like stories.
That is why we like them. This one did it. It did it well.
It was an interesting contrast to, like, his family was like, no family's perfect, but damn near.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. His dad was great. Don't
R.I.P.
remember his
Hank.
name. Okay, yeah. Hank. That sounds good.
Even if it's not Hank, that's what we're going to say at this point.
I think you're right. I think you're right. The first time they go and meet his parents, I cried. This part was so cute. So in the morning, you were talking about, this is so random, but they were talking about in the morning, Hank would make everyone a cup of coffee with like a pour over. How long would that take, Joe? Forever.
A single cup for everybody?
There's
Or
like
just-
6 or 7 of them.
That would take forever.
And yeah.
And he did it. And then they said by the time he was done with the first round, like everyone would be ready for another cup. And so he like would hop up off his recliner and start getting the next stuff done. And I started crying.
Because that's love.
Yeah, it was so
Man,
cute.
like that's like one of
Somebody
those
needs to
like
buy him one of those Chemex, or what is it called?
Oh yeah, you're right.
The big-
I think
is it
so.
Chemex?
I think it's like a big ass pour over.
no, yeah, that
He's
is
dead though. So.
It is one of those like subtle
Shit
forms
happens.
of love.
Oh my god, yeah. I started
You know, like
crying.
that's,
Would you do that, Joe?
That's a genuine love.
Yeah, I guess. If people wanted coffee. I do like making coffee.
Yeah.
They were like, Dad, just use a Keurig. Like they had one, and he was like, No, I don't mind. Or, it was just
This was so much better.
Such a dad thing. So cute. But that made me cry.
Yeah. What made me tear up a bit was when Harriet was talking about how she felt like part of their family and how when she lost part of them too. But that there was one time where Hank like hugged her and he said, "Love you, kiddo." And after his passing, all of the kids got "Love you, kiddo" on like their
Tattoo,
body somewhere,
yeah.
because that was what he always said to his kids, and him saying it to Harriet. It honestly reminded me a little bit about I call him my father-in-law, my boyfriend's dad. I've known him for over a decade now. He treats me like one of his kids,
Yeah.
and like that is that would be a Greg thing, like because he does. He treats all of his people like they're his people. He holds them, And Hank reminds me of Greg a little, because Greg would make me a pour over coffee.
100% see Greg.
Yeah, he would make me a pour over coffee.
so
I'd
cute.
finish it, and he'd be like, "You want another?" And then he'd get up and make it. Oh, love Greg.
I think my dad would disown me before he disowned Bailey.
Yeah.
I
I'm the
think
favorite.
Oh yeah.
for sure loves Bailey more than me.
Oh yeah. If it came down to it, I
yeah.
would be the kid. Like, just kidding. No, he would always pick Aaron. But
Yeah, anytime we like leave like visiting him, because he lives out, or even when he lived here, honestly, he'd be like, keep an eye on him, keep him in line. That's funny.
Yeah. There was a lot of subtle love.
Yeah. And then they have the little shower scene, which is strange. They start to like actually talk. She's getting over it. Like she's like, okay. Like amping herself up. It was kind of funny. She's like walking outside, like amping herself up for this conversation because she doesn't like confrontation at all. But she's finally like, it's saying like, it's killing me hearing how happy you are without even understanding like how I made you so miserable, like why we broke up or anything. And he said, I wasn't happy after my dad died, and I was making you unhappy too. I was so low that I convinced myself that Martin, the guy that kissed her, was the kind of guy you wanted to be with. You were never mad at me. You never fought with me. It felt like you didn't even miss me, and I felt like I had trapped you. And I was like, thank fuck. You guys have said it.
Yeah, because, I mean, she was like, I don't want to add any more stress. I don't want to add any more pressure. Things happen. I don't want to be a cause of like, so when he missed his flight, when he couldn't make the trip, she was like, it's okay. And he was like, why is she not upset with me? Like, why does she not care? You know, so this is like, I knew this, you know, like I knew that Wyn was going to say some shit like that because that makes sense, you know, but
I also get her perspective.
I get her perspective. And so him finally saying it, I was like, finally, we're getting somewhere. And then I thought that would be the conversation. And then they did their steamy shower and they're like, okay, just friends. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what was all that for?
Yeah.
And there was a lot.
And then in that conversation, she said she slept with someone else.
Yeah.
I was like, I
Yeah.
hope it wasn't Martin.
I don't think it definitely wasn't.
Good.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know, him being what she felt like was the catalyst for Wyn breaking up with her. I feel like that wouldn't be she wouldn't make him right, you know?
I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversations near the end of the book that they had that I was like, all right, this is it. This is it. And then it's like, what? Yeah.
Oh. Oh, I was like, what are you? They have the friend fight that day, or it's either the next day after the shower or literally like right after the shower conversation. I think they go out.
It blurs.
Okay. I think they go out. That's when Sabrina tries to get them all tatted, like friendship tats.
It is that night.
And they're like, we've been talking about this for years. And everyone's like, no. And Sabrina's like, well, I already paid for it.
Yeah.
They're like, don't care.
Yeah.
First of all, you're rich, so get fucked. But they don't do it. And that's when Harriet went up to Sabrina and was like, Wyn and I aren't together. Like, I'm not getting a fucking tattoo that resembles him in any way on my body right now. Mm-hmm. And that's when Sabrina kind of blows up and was like, yeah, fucking no, bitch. Not really, but pretty much.
Yeah.
And then they have their little friendship fight about them not talking and they're growing apart and everything's not the same. And they broke up and she didn't tell them and blah, blah, blah.
And Cleo's right behind him.
Cleo kind of started too because she's like, I'm not always just going to go along with whatever you want, Sabrina. And she's like, well, what does that mean?
She's like, I said what I said.
Bitch.
I know at that moment where she looks over at Harriet and she goes, no, I meant it. I was like, oh, stand on it, babe. You know, like,
yeah.
Oh. Because Harriet's like, okay. And
yeah,
Chloe's
she's
like,
trying to like keep the peace. She's
no.
like, she didn't mean it. She don't go, yeah, I did, bitch.
Yeah, I did. I meant it. Whoa, I don't know.
What?
I don't know. It like shocked me that she was
Really?
like, no, I did.
Well, knowing she's pregnant now, are you shocked?
No.
She said, I'm over it, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Cleo was also pregnant, so she was like, I wouldn't even be able to get a tattoo. And then,
Yeah.
then how am I going to explain not getting that tattoo? Because no one's going to fucking tattoo a pregnant person. And yeah. But she still hadn't told him at that point. Mm-hmm. It was the next day.
Is that true?
I don't know.
I think it's just like a normal fear. Like,
I guess that makes sense. I've never thought about that, but yeah.
I know. I hadn't either until it said that. I was like, oh.
But then you are trusting a random person sticking a needle into you. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, just God forbid anything happen. I see it as a legal thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not tattooing you just in case something happens, and you're not going to come for me and say it's my fucking fault.
Yeah.
That, you know, like, somehow something happened because you got a tattoo. And I mean, who's going to volunteer like a study for that?
True.
No,
I don't
like,
think you have to. We already know blood-borne diseases exist. You could just assume.
I'm talking about just other things, but I don't know like what else tattooing could it. I don't know anything about tattoos, obviously.
Oh yeah, you're naked.
I'm naked. So is Joe.
Oh wow, really? That's surprising to me.
It's because he's poor.
Tattoos are expensive.
Yeah.
Tattoos are expensive.
I want to be covered, but
Me too.
But he's barren.
Barren.
I want to be neck down.
Barren wasteland. Really, nothing.
Literally nothing.
Wow.
I'm also very picky, so like
Fair.
I like art.
He's an artist.
And
Yes.
so I want the person that does it to be like really good at whatever they're doing and not just something they just kind of throw together.
Yeah, all mine were walk-ins.
Yeah. And I don't
Joe's
want to
not
do
doing
that.
that.
I want it to be like, I have
Oh, this
very
one wasn't.
specific pieces that I want. So it's just never came up, nor have I ever had the funds because all of them would be big pieces.
Heard. Yeah, two of mine, I only have three. Two of mine were walk-ins. Just fucking got it done. And then this one was actually designed for me, and I now hate it, which is sad because it's my matching tattoo with my sister. My sister's tattoo she got for me, gorgeous. This does not do Annika justice, and I want to get it touched up, but it's like the tattoo karma. Like no tattoo artist will touch another tattoo artist's work, so no one's gonna work on it, you know. And I did not like the girl who tatted me. Did not like her. Will not go back.
Did she do Annika's?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. She like trauma dumped the entire time, and it not like in a tasteful way. Like all right, babe.
Is it ever?
I mean, sometimes you're like, oh yeah, and then you can like resonate. I was not giving this bitch anything, and she kept going, and I'm like, book a therapist, babe. Book a therapist.
You're like, here's my mom's number.
It was pretty bad, like what she was saying, and I'm like, in what world do you think I want to hear about this? Like what? Anyways. I understand is all I'm saying.
Friendship fight happens. They all go home angry. They go to their separate rooms. So Wyn and Harriet go to separate rooms now because everybody fucking knows they're broken up now because they just had a scream fight about it. And then she, at some point in the middle of the night, is like, I'm going to go talk to him. Once again, I don't know. She's like hyping herself up. When she goes to open his door, he has like a bag packed and about to leave. Rude. They fight, finally, according to them. That was their first fight, apparently.
Yeah, which is another reason why all this miscommunication happened. Mm-hmm. Fights are healthy, y'all.
And then they sleep together and all is well. Yep. Uh-huh. And next morning, she sees Cleo, which was when they tell her she's pregnant, and they say, you're a god mom, or whatever. So cute. Then she goes and does some pottery. That was a part of this book. She likes pottery, like making her own. What's it called? Wheel.
Yeah.
Ghost situation. You know what I'm saying? There is a ghost moment.
It's pottery wheel, yeah.
Pottery wheel, thank you.
There's a ghost moment,
Yeah.
a reference.
Dude, I read this. Ghost was brought up. Then you said something about it.
Because we did
I know.
that date thing.
I don't know what that is.
Ghost? The
Yeah.
movie with Patrick Swayze. He's a ghost. And
That's all you need to know.
there it is. Done. No. There's a pottery wheel scene at some point, and he's like sitting behind her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he uses his hands, and they like make pottery.
Oh.
It's a very
It's, like,
famous
sensual.
scene. But it's
It's very
also a very
famous.
old movie at this point.
I mean, actually, now that you're saying that, I see a scene with Patrick Swayze and a pottery wheel. So now,
Yeah, that's
okay. Okay.
So they do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then Joe brought it up when we did the pie thing. Like when we made the pie, and he was like, this is very ghost. And then I was watching a YouTube video, and someone else brought it up.
No
And I was like,
way.
3 in like the last 2 days is fucking weird.
That is weird.
like this old ass movie, and it gets brought up 3 times.
That is weird.
Yeah. I was like, I might need to watch it. This is a sign.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Have you seen it? Mm-hmm. Oh, no.
I think just
never.
once. But
We've had the scene at least twice because we watched it in the cabin in Eureka Springs. And that was I think like the second time ever seeing it. So you don't remember that? Wow.
I remember there being a TV and there just being random ass movies, and we were in the middle of
Ghost
nowhere.
was one of them.
Huh.
Because we had zero service,
Yeah,
zero
sketch.
internet, in the middle of the woods, and we just watched these random movies they had collected, and Ghost was one of them. I think we also watched Roadhouse. There's several Patrick Swayze movies in that collection.
Oh,
I
there should
remember.
be.
I mean, come on,
As
it's
there should
Patrick
be.
Swayze. They don't make men like Patrick Swayze no more.
True. Anyway.
No, I
Ghost.
didn't get the reference. I just kept on going, and then they said it again, and I was like, fuck, should I look this up? I wasn't going to look it up.
Well, now I told you. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't even remember the whole premise of that movie, if I'm being
He dies
honest.
right out the jump.
Yeah, I know he dies like immediately.
Somehow he's still there.
Yeah.
It's a romance with a ghost. Yeah. That's about all I remember. Maybe someone's trying to kill her. I don't know. That randomly came to me. That doesn't sound right. Don't listen to me.
It does sound right, though.
Right? Okay, great. Great.
He's like protecting her from something that's about to happen
so.
type shit. Anyways, you were saying that they're in a pottery. She's at the pottery.
1990.
Wow.
There's the cover. It's steamy.
Wow.
Supernatural romance film. Wow, look at it. Supernatural romance being a thing back
I was
in
about
the
to
90s.
say, I was like, that was probably like, what's the paved the way? That's the thing I'm thinking of. Paved the way. You were talking about something specific about the
mine.
pottery.
Anyway.
We're talking about ghosts now. We don't need to talk about
Swayze
it.
was murdered. His ghost is set out to save his girlfriend from the person who killed him
Oh.
through the help of a psychic.
Isn't the psychic...
It says Goldberg.
Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg. I remember.
That didn't age well.
I don't know. You'll have to talk about that later. Anyway, they're doing the pottery bullshit. I'm just trying to get to the end here, yo. They leave. She's there for way too long. They go back to the house. Sabrina is missing.
Yeah.
Dead.
Dun, dun, dun. Who would have thought? Because she never wanted to get married in the first place. But then for some reason she wanted to because her house was being sold, obviously. Duh. They find her. That's when they tell Sabrina what's her butt's having a baby. Mm-hmm. Cleo. And that's why they canceled the plans and blah, 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 blah. Oh, at the pottery place. That's when Harriet says she hates her job.
Yes. I actually, the part where she's like showing Wyn some of her stuff that
Her
she's
pottery,
made.
yeah.
And he's like, oh, I like this one. And she's
Oh
like,
my God, yeah.
She's like, it's named Hank. And he said, huh? And it's like, it's the vibe of the wheel. It's the colors. And he's like, no, this is perfect. This is Hank. And he's like, you named something off of, and she's like, yeah, it sounds stupid. I'm not Michelangelo. You know, I shouldn't have like my, and that
No
scene
names, yeah.
that was beautiful. And that was beautiful. And then he was drawn to that one.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I like this one.
It's fucking fictitious, I know. So it's set up that way. But that is something that could have happened in real life. So, beautiful.
And I think she said she was going to mail it to his mom or
No,
something.
I teared. I think tears fell, that one, actually.
Aw.
Yeah, that one got me.
Did they even end up getting married?
And I don't think in this.
Sabrina
Oh, yes.
and Parth.
They do.
Great.
They do end up getting married at the cottage.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Then the next day, everyone leaves.
Yes.
So she's at the airport. She's like, nah, I ain't going back, bitches. Starts to leave, and then Wyn's outside.
Yeah.
They make up or something. And she said, I'm going to Montana. Quitting.
Yeah. It was interesting. I mean, because, like, he was like, I'm not going to ask you to come back to Montana, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can't make you come back to Montana. And she's like, yeah, finally she comes to this realization, like, yeah, you're right. You can't make me, but I can make me.
Yeah,
I can choose to go to Montana.
Yeah, you're...
Blah, blah, blah. And
yeah.
I think that's what he needed was obviously, like, the choice because
He didn't want to feel like he's forcing her.
yeah. Which I get. But how long it took, I don't know.
Painful.
I feel like one chapter long conversation could have gotten all of this squared away. But we had like 4 mini high heat conversations and then, you know, but this one, it stuck. So that's what matters.
And then she lives in Montana and works at a pottery place.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a this happens. Everything's tied up in a neat little bow.
Oh, when she calls her parents to tell them, her sister like immediately texts her and was like, bro,
Good job.
nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that was cute.
It was cute.
She's like, proud of you.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cute.
And then she apologized for like not, I don't want to say like protecting her from her parents, but kind of.
Not like being on her side.
A buffer, I guess. But what were your ending thoughts on Wyn?
Oh,
Like him?
I loved him. I loved him because, like I said before, he was the most realistic, I feel like, because men have insecurities too that make sense. And some of the insecurities we've had in other books are kind of like more superficial. This one was like from the beginning, you know, his family kind of made him feel like he was lesser than his siblings. His siblings were always like more naturally XYZ than he was, blah, blah, blah. So this carried over into his adult life and his romance. And that shit that's real. I don't know. I really liked Wyn a lot. I didn't like Harriet all that much. I feel like for someone who is in surgical resident, she could have been a little smarter. But she was also a people pleaser, so.
Yeah. A lot of, in my experience, a lot of young baby doctors are very book smart, and that's all they've known for years and years and years. They're not very good with people quite yet. Some of them are okay. Some of them are rough.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Some of them are rough with their social skills.
Yeah.
Their people skills. Their working together with other people skills.
Because they were just so like, and that does make sense because she had like tutors. She was studying. She needed the scholarship. She needed, that does track. Tracks. Overall, though, score. My
Whoa.
gut tells me a 3.5.
Whoa.
I know.
That's crazy.
It is. But again, I left with feelings, but not all of them were positive.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing either. I am still digesting.
You take a while, yeah.
I do take a while digesting my ratings. Right now, it's 3.5. I know, but that's my gut. I want to give it a 4, but my gut is like, it's a 3.5.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. This is why I don't rate on Goodreads.
This is why she
'Cause
keeps it inside.
I'm a flippy floppy.
One thing about Wyn we forgot to mention is in Montana, he did get on some antidepressants.
He did.
And so I think that was I don't know what to say.
And
I don't want to say a
normalized.
grow up.
Yeah.
But kind of like him realizing a lot of things too. Mm-hmm. That helped with him, realizing his parents. He felt that way with his siblings and his parents growing up. And obviously he was hella depressed when his dad died. And that helped him get out of it. And he's starting to feel like he can do something like his work, He's making beautiful work and he's selling it for what it's worth. And he was very down on himself before that, because when he was interviewing for jobs, he wasn't really getting anything. And Harriet's like, you need to answer these questions like the people who love you would answer these questions.
Yeah, because you
answer these
self-deprecating.
questions. Yeah, I'm not that great,
Yeah.
You think of yourself as not that great and no one else sees you that way. And so you're taking these interviews because you're answering the questions negatively about yourself. So I think that helped him with a better positive view of himself even.
Yeah.
Which probably helped their relationship in the end.
Yeah, I think for this one, the breakup with the kind of the realizations that came along with the breakup helped with the remedying of the relationship. I think if they didn't have this time, they probably would have broken up further down the line because the same issues were going to be issues until they either weren't anymore, which is highly unlikely if you don't fight, if you don't talk. So the breakup was necessary. The heartache was necessary for them to be able to come back together as more whole people.
I feel like it was a very realistic breakup. Because, a lot of these books are the stupidest motherfucking breakups I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
Yes.
I think this one was way more realistic.
It
was a miscommunication, but in a different way.
Yeah, it has layers.
Onion.
He's an onion.
The Goodreads rating, 3.96.
Wow. Okay. I'm on the same.
Thought that was low.
I'm on the track.
I'm just kidding. That's pretty high, actually. I wonder what her other books are.
What was your rating?
I think I gave it 5 stars.
Wow. Both times?
I bawled like a baby both times. Yeah.
Wow.
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 Beach Read's 3.99. I don't even remember what I owe. So that's the highest.
Okay.
JK. Book Lovers is 4.1.
What?
That's fucking crazy.
And that's one we haven't read
Okay.
yet?
Funny Stories 4.2.
Oh,
That's
okay.
crazy to me.
It gets better.
I bet just, as they go on.
Did you read Funny Story?
Yeah,
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I did. But also Great Big Beautiful Life already has a 4.2 average rating and it's not even out. So there's that as well. Goodreads is a little skewed.
Yeah.
People who rate before the book comes out.
They can't fact check. I mean, even if you have an arc.
Catch these hands. Oh, I guess that's true. But
I mean,
they don't all.
I feel like if you have an arc,
There's
you make your own content.
2,583 ratings. There's
Yeah.
no shot there's that many arcs out there.
There's no way there's that many arcs out there. And I think if you get an arc, you should make your own personal content and
Happy
not
Place
make
has
it.
over 1 million ratings.
Wow.
That's
wow.
the highest one. Oh, just kidding. It's still Book Lovers. Whoa. Beach Read, People We Meet on Vacation, Book Lovers, and Happy Place all have over 1 million ratings. That bitch is getting some money.
Yeah, good for her. And with these movie deals coming out too,
Every single one of them.
she's about to be rolling in the dough.
Every fucking one of them.
Rolling.
Whoa.
Just don't have what's his name, Justin Baldoni and the other girl.
Damn.
You're thinking of Blake Lively.
Yeah.
You're thinking of
Don't
Blake
have them in the movie. It might fall apart.
Okay, Joe. Too far. All we know is Funny Story has Tom Blythe and some gal. Remember? Don't act.
I remember.
Don't act.
I remember.
Okay.
I had to remember what he looked like. Is what
President
I was trying
Snow.
to do. Ooh. I think he's handsome.
When
When
I
you say
hated
that,
President
I think
Snow.
the old person, but
Okay.
I know
He did.
That's like obvious.
I'm pretty sure.
He died?
I don't know.
Wait, he did earlier this year, didn't
I was
he?
like, he did.
I just immediately think him because I
Of
Yeah.
course.
don't know.
Did you ever finish that movie?
No.
Bailey told me.
That's okay. You don't need to.
I was like, not worth it, man.
No, we finished it and we were like,
Okay, he did not die this year. He died last year, June 2024. Almost a year ago now.
wow. R.I.P.
Donald Sutherland.
Love him.
He was great at being an evil.
And he was also
Snow.
great at being a nice dad. Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, I was like, please fucking elaborate. Because that was confusing. Pride and Prejudice. I do think Tom Blythe will have brown hair, though, and People We Meet on Vacation. Instantly better.
Instantly better. I don't know. He looked pretty good with that, like, bleached blonde shaved look.
The
he
shaved,
had.
yeah.
Yeah, the shaved look. I was like, damn, no hair look better? That's crazy. But it
Very
did.
few.
But it did. Actually, I don't even remember how that fucking that movie ended. It was
Terribly.
so mid. So mid, that movie. What is it even called? Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? I'm sorry. I hated it. Honestly, waste of 2 hours of our time.
Well
That's
over
long.
2
It
hours.
was very long.
Yeah, we could have watched so many other good content, and
Like,
we
she's
watched
the
that.
man, honestly, what the fuck?
Ugh. What'd you say?
Like, she's the man.
Yeah, we could have watched She's the Man twice.
Honestly. I walked into the resident room last night at work, and they have like a big old screen. I don't fucking know. But on it was like, She's the Man. Like, they had just finished watching it, and I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, we're all watching She's the Man. And they're like, yeah, we can watch it again. I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But now I know it's on Prime,
Oh,
so I'm going to watch it.
You also have it.
I know, I have it on DVD, but
that's a comfort movie of yours.
I love it. I haven't watched it in a while. I was like, I know everywhere, put it on.
On every word. Run it back. Actually, you don't have to. I'll perform it for you.
I got you. That's the first song. I got you on my mind. And they're playing soccer on the beach.
That's crazy.
Anyway.
Anyways.
Next week? Next time? It's not next week.
Next time, we are talking about different book tropes. What we like about them, what we hate about them. Maybe a rank in there.
I don't think we'll rank all of them. Maybe like a top couple.
Ones that we haven't experienced. I've got a couple that I've heard of and never experienced, so looking for recommendations and such. But yeah, that will be a fun little topic. We touch on a trope I feel like every episode we mention something, so I think it'll be fun going through like a full episode just talking about tropes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for watching, listening, and following us on Instagram at Our Book Boyfriends Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.
Bye.